1. I was contacted by the stalker of a woman who has the same name as me, lives in the same place, and was on The Bachelor. He found me on LinkedIn and sent me a message that I had a one-sentence response to, which he seemed to read really far into. Unfortunately, at the time, I was looking for jobs and assumed he was an employer and accepted him on, and so he was able to get my email. I changed my name and links as I would rather not have that known. This is what resulted. Thought that I had sent this letter to you back on October 20th. However, it appears that it did not send. Tonight I revised my message to add some more thoughts to share with you, to see what you think. David. Greetings, Alexa. Thank you for letting me know that you are someone different. I hate it when people do not have the courtesy to give an answer. It is strange that there are two Alexas in Lillooet. I wish to invite you to try to go see her and introduce yourself. I would like to see the look on her face. Cool. You can tell her that a squire sent you, and that he would appreciate having her answer his letters. Alexa does not know my given name as you do, and at this point, I'd prefer she didn't. Curiosity will eventually capture the kitten. Please do not tell her. Thank you. On The Bachelor, names and identity were not revealed. Friendships were built on character. If she wishes to know my name, she needs to ask. Seek, and you shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened upon to you. Since she likes taking photographs, it would be neat to have a photograph of the look on her face when you introduce yourself. I had her telephone number, but I have misplaced it. If I can find it, I would share it with you. I believe she lives in the Summerland area. I will send you her email address if you would like it. Here are some other links about your namesake. The first two links will show you how pretty that she was 8 years ago when she was about your age. Now as for you, you did not post a photograph of yourself. Are you an ugly duckling, or just afraid of cameras? You state that you are just an artist. That sounds to me that you do not give your talent or yourself much credit. What type of artisty work do you do? Making a good cup of coffee is an art itself, and there are few people who know how to brew a good pot of coffee. I do not drink coffee. However, most places, their coffee tastes like mud or dish soap. I know what a good cup of coffee tastes like, and there are few that can make one. The other Alexa does photographic art and writes proses and poems. Also, it seems to me that I detect in the tone of what you stated that you are alone and are lonely or not happy with your present circumstances. Which raises the question, are you looking for a husband? Oops, look out, I'm a wolf. I cannot get a yes or a no, or maybe a response out of the other Alexa, though she is still using the title Miss Alexa. She has read at least one of my poems and appears to not know what to say. The poem was written 10 years ago, however, when I posted it on my website, something special was added at the end in remembrance to her, though it could apply to other ladies as well, whether or not they knew it's a special meaning. Like her, I'm also a photographer. I live photographing sunsets and rainbows. One needs to be quick about it because in just a few minutes they're gone forever, though I photograph scenery, wildlife, birds, flowers, and the changing of the leaves and pretty ladies too. It would be nice to know what you look like. Maybe I will like what I see, but then maybe I won't. But then, maybe we could work out a deal. I would never know if I did not ask. However, no matter what, we can still be friends. There is no sense in being disagreeable. I am quite particular as to what I am looking for, as relating to marriage. However, I did make one exception for the other Alexa because she was very talented. If I do not see what I am looking for in your photo, please do not be offended. I am looking for special qualities, and most women, for some reason, just seem to lack those qualities. Especially women in North America. The other Alexa was an exception. Alexa had that quality, but she seems to have lost it. However, I believe I could help her to bring it back, or find it again if she would let me help. On The Bachelor, there were 25 pretty women, and I picked Alexa for first impression. And there were only 2 other ladies that even came close. 10% as possible keepers is not good odds. The Bachelor was to select 15 ladies to keep for the next round of negotiations. I could only find 10 ladies worthy of investigation. There was one woman, I would not call her a lady, to which I gave the horse's ass trophy within the first 15 minutes of the program. That was something most certainly that Alexa and I both agreed on. I noted last night, October 19th, that she had posted a new photograph of herself on Twitter, and there was a sign that she was finally over what had been bothering her for a long time. In fact, she looked great. By the way, have you ever attended any concerts by a band called Town Pants? They are my favorite Celtic band. I have attended several of their concerts back in September. I missed their concert this year when they were in Clinton Square, about 100 miles from where I live, because I had no means of transportation. You should check them out. I think you would like their music. Thanks for taking the time to be a friend. Someday I might come try your coffee. At your service, my lady. Sir Creeps-a-Lot. 2. To preface, I was about 25 years old when this occurred. My boyfriend and I had been out visiting with friends, and we left their house late, around 2 a.m. Now, I've never been much of a drinker. I was addicted to opiates at the time, but that's neither here nor there. So I did the driving. On our way back, we decided to call in some omelets from the Waffle House, which is the only place where one can get takeout in the super early morning. So we arrived at the Waffle House, and I went inside to pick up our orders. As I was paying for the order, a young man to my left began pacing and mumbling angrily, muttering something I couldn't understand. I didn't think much of it, since most diner patrons are either drunk or truck drivers at that time of day. When I collected the food and turned to leave, I noticed a young woman outside of the diner. She, too, was angrily pacing back and forth, grimacing and cursing. The young man followed me out into the parking lot. I sidestepped the woman to get in my car. The young man had gotten into another car, and the young woman sat in the passenger seat. Whatever, I thought. Tweakers. As I put my car into reverse, the car with the 2 tweakers screeched to a halt behind my car, pinning us in the parking spot. Within seconds, the man was knocking ferociously on my driver's side window and yelling at me. My boyfriend and I exchanged what the fuck glances, and I unrolled the car window about an inch. The conversation went something like this. "You stole my girlfriend's wallet, and you better give it fucking back right fuck now." Me: "I have no idea what you're talking about. I have my own wallet, and that's it." Man: "You fucking stole it from the counter, and we're getting it back one fucking way or another." Me: "Dude, I didn't steal shit. Move your car or I'm going to back into it." Man: "You give it to me right now, or give me yours, or you're fucking dead." I rolled up the window and backed my car up a few inches. He continued to scream at me through the window, then leapt back into his car with his girlfriend. They peeled backwards, and I exited the parking lot. At that point, my boyfriend and I were amused more than anything else, and we re-entered the highway. Just then, we heard the same car roar up behind us. The man was driving like an absolute maniac to dodge other cars, traffic lights, and stop signs, until he got so close to us that their car nearly rammed our back bumper. I weaved in and out of the sparse traffic as safely as I could in an attempt to throw them off of our route. Each time, he'd managed to pull behind us again. He clicked his headlights on and off the bright setting, He leaned on the horn. Inside our car, it was blinding and deafening. I sure as hell wasn't going home so that this tweakhead, unhinged couple would know where we lived. I swear it was almost like I could hear him, still screaming even over the blaring car horn. My boyfriend and I didn't do much talking, so I suppose we were both shocked and trying to figure out what to do. Fuck this, I told him. We're going to the police station. I doubled back, the car still bearing down on us. When I pulled into the police station, they followed. I locked my car doors, picked up my cell, and began to ring the station because I sure as shit wasn't going to get out of my car. The man practically ran out of his car and up to my window, again banging and yelling. I'd gone way beyond concerned and scared to absolutely pissed. Man, we want our goddamn money! Me, leave me the fuck alone. I'll let the fucking cops search me for your girlfriend's fucking wallet. Man, silence. Me, I'm on the phone with the cops right now. Man, if you don't have it, I guess you don't have it. He then sprinted back to his car with his sour-faced girlfriend and burned Robert out of there. I stayed in the police station's parking lot for a while, talking to the cops on duty. When we finally left, at about 3:30 a.m., I still made several loops through town before eventually heading home, arriving after 4 a.m. Legally, nothing came of the incident. I have no idea what the couple's names were, nor did I get a license plate number. We gave the cops descriptions of their physical appearances and vehicle, but they seemed far more interested in making sure I wasn't drunk. Thanks, fellas. I'm fairly certain that the maniac couple was pulling a strong-arm con job, or else they were genuinely convinced that I had mysteriously and magically stolen the girl's wallet, even though they were pacing and muttering as soon as I'd entered the diner, before I'd paid for the takeout, and that methamphetamine psychosis was responsible for the bizarre severity of their behavior. Anyway, fuck those assholes. My almost were cold and rubbery by the time I got home. 3. Alright. Well, this happened to me 14 years ago when I was in 4th grade. Back then it was very common that every morning before school started, kids would be dropped off at the park, and from there we would walk to the school before the bell rang at 8:30 a.m. Keep in mind the park is right next door to my old elementary school, so there really wasn't that much of a distance or any danger for that matter. The one and only road that led to the park and school had lots of traffic and people walking around. So my mom drops me off, and since we are pretty early and my friends were already walking toward the swing set in the park, I told her I would go there with them and wait for the bell. Mom said it was fine, but to not get to class late, or else I'd be grounded. I quickly agreed, said goodbye to my mom, and headed straight to my friends. Now in this park, way in the back, there is, or was, I haven't been there in years, a wooded area that you can go in for maybe half a block, and then you run into a fence that separates the farm and the park. It was a very cool area to run and play in, and the swing set, where my friends were hanging out at, was maybe 30 feet away from the trees. As I was getting closer to my friends, I saw something shift next to a tree, and I stopped to get a better look at what it was. That's when I saw him, a tall man with greasy brown hair and dark clothes. He was way in the back of the park, in the tree line, just looking around, not doing anything that would cause alarm. So I dismissed him as just a man walking around, or one of the farm helpers that we would usually see from time to time, feeding the chickens or fixing the fence. I went on to talk to my friends, but I kept getting a bad feeling. Fortunately, my parents were very good at teaching me to listen to my instincts and be aware of my surroundings whenever I am near strangers. Feeling a bit weird about that man, I told my friends that we should start to head out to the entrance of the school, but because it was 7:45, They didn't want to get stuck in the cafeteria waiting to be allowed into the playground. I started to get upset, because the bad feeling I had was getting worse. I felt kind of trapped, and it was clear to my friends that something was up with me, but they dismissed it as me being in one of my bad day moods, and continued to goof off and be loud. I looked around, still feeling nervous, and looked toward the woods. He was still there, except this time he was looking at us. He had a cold look in his face, and I could tell he was angry. That's when he saw me staring, and I quickly looked away, trying to play it off. Unfortunately, that gained his attention and slowly made his way to us. When he got close, he smiled at us, and in a very friendly voice started to ask general questions about what we liked, what kind of video games we liked to play, what school we went to, stuff like that. I stayed quiet and just listened to my dumb, I tell them all the time when this comes up in conversations, friends. Answer his questions without hesitation. The man then turns to me, the only girl in the group, and with a creepy smile tells me that I have beautiful black hair and a pretty face. I quietly and nervously thanked him without looking at him, and moved closer to my best friend Josh. He was a 6th grader, and the eldest of the bunch. When Josh saw how nervous I was because of the man, he held my hand and moved me behind him. The man looked annoyed at that. Josh did that and moved around him to be closer to me. At this point, I looked over to our other friends and they, finally, realized that something was very wrong. But they were just as afraid as I was to do or say anything. The man kept saying that I was so beautiful and that I looked like a pretty doll, and just kept saying all these compliments that a stranger should never tell a little kid without the parents present, and even that's iffy. At this point, my instincts were telling me to run or to cry out for help, but I was petrified and couldn't move at all. The man then started to touch my hair while complimenting me, and said how he would like to take me home, how I would be his special little doll. He would buy me toys and lots of pretty things. He then grabbed me by the arm and pulled me close to him. Thankfully, when he did that, it snapped Josh out of his fear of what was going on, and he pulled me back towards him fast, and we all took off running. He was so fast that I guess the man didn't expect it. The man cursed and yelled and started running after us. I swear it felt like we ran forever to the entrance, and I felt somewhat relieved that we were that much closer to the school and to safety, but the man was still behind us. I was sure he was going to catch up and hurt us for running away, but when I looked back, he had stopped near a bench with a hate-filled look on his face. We finally made it out of the park and just ran straight to the entrance of the school, where one of our teachers, Ms. D, was barely making her way out to help with the street crossing. When we saw her, we ran to her and I just collapsed on the floor, sobbing while the boys told Ms. D what happened and what the man looked like. Ms. D immediately informed the police. The entire school went on lockdown, and the cops were called. I stayed glued to Josh while we spoke to the cops and waited for our parents to arrive, and thankfully the teachers were very understanding of why I needed to be close to my best friend and left us alone. My mom and dad were so scared and furious that this man had tried to take me away, and were thankful that Josh reacted quickly and led us to safety. After that incident, the school took steps to make sure all kids were dropped off in front of the school safely. The school district sent out letters to parents telling them to not allow us to be in the park unsupervised, and a patrol car was assigned to our school. Although the cops searched for the man, he was never found, which terrifies me, and to this day I can still remember the look in his eyes as they saw us get away. I don't know what would have happened to me had Josh not been there to protect me, and I am so thankful I had and still have such an amazing friend looking out for me. So, creepy man in the park that tried to kidnap me, let's not meet. Ever. Hey everyone, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to 3 True Scary Stories, episode 177. This video is actually made up of mostly of stories that I already had in my hard drive because I can't really do a lot of recording right now. And which actually brings me to my next thing. I'm gonna have to take a break because I'm not well at all right now. The doctors claim it's mostly coming off problems with my acid reflux. I hope the hell that's the case, but we'll see. The fact of the matter is, continually recording day after day is not helping the situation. And as a result of that, I'm going to have to take some time off. I don't know how much time. Hopefully it won't be too long, but I'm just going to have to completely rest. And so, while I know you guys have come to depend on me uploading every day, I prefer to upload every day also. Right now, that's just not possible at all. So there'll be no uploads for a little while. Maybe 2 weeks. Hopefully it won't be any longer than that. And with that, I'm going to head off for now. So, until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.